Discover the heartwarming journey of living with amazing, life-changing long hair that inspires. Arya's hair flowed like a golden waterfall down her back, shimmering in the sunlight, catching the glances, the whispers, the awe of everyone around her. It was no ordinary hair, it had a life of its own. Some said it had magic, others claimed it sensed emotions, guiding Arya toward extraordinary adventures. You could feel the energy in the air when she walked into a room, a mixture of admiration and curiosity that made jaws drop and hearts race. But with such beauty came bizarre tales of mystery. It was said that Arya's hair could predict storms, curling and twisting tightly at the roots right before the rains hit. One time, at a community picnic, her locks whipped and thrashed as thunder grumbled in the distance. Every eye darted toward her, a collective gasp echoing through the crowd. They watched in disbelief as the sky split open, unleashing torrents of rain. Was it just weather, or was there something deeper at play? As Arya navigated her life, she faced moments that sent chills down her spine. Shadows loomed in her periphery, stalking her every step. Late at night, she'd catch a glimpse of her flowing hair in the mirror. Sometimes it looked thicker, even almost alive. Was it a trick of the light or something more sinister? The way it swayed, the way it beckoned. There were nights she lay awake, the cool sheets sticking to her skin, heart racing like a racing car on a long stretch of highway. What secrets are you hiding? She'd whisper into the darkness. Everyone admired Arya, but few knew her struggle, a struggle woven deep within the tangled strands. It wasn't just hair to her, it was a weight, a challenge, a reminder of the expectations that hung over her head like a storm cloud ready to burst. The longer her hair grew, the more pressure would come. Friends would ask, "Why don't you donate it? You have more than enough." Each request twisted in her mind, a painful introduction to the world waiting for her to conform. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Arya felt the pull of her hair one stormy evening. A sudden chill crept in, whispers of the unknown echoed in her ears. Could it be a call to adventure, or something darker? She grasped a few shimmering strands in her trembling hands, her heart pounding like a drum. The promises hidden within her hair, a tangled web of stories yet to be revealed. So many questions raced through her mind. What was she truly meant to do with so much power? And as the wind howled outside, she wondered if she was brave enough to find out. The wind howled like a wild animal, a fierce reminder of the brewing storm outside. Arya felt a shiver crawl up her spine, but it wasn't just the cold. Her hair coiled and twisted, a sentient force tugging at her very essence. She couldn't help but feel it was alive, aware, even watching her in that moment of frantic chaos. What was happening? Her heart raced, each thud echoing like a war drum in her ears. A flicker of fear settled deep within. She stepped backward, her eyes glued to the mirror as strands danced and writhed like snakes, almost alive. Was it her imagination? The dim light cast eerie shadows, enhancing the spectacle. A chill swept over her, and she wondered about the stories she had heard, stories of the bond between her hair and strange occurrences. Thunder clapped loud and close, an ominous reminder that nature was responding to her unspoken call. What did it want? Suddenly, a voice broke through the roar of the storm, soft yet firm. Arya, it echoed, reverberating through her being. Her breath caught in her throat. No one else was home. Just her, the tempest, and that voice? She turned, half expecting to see someone standing there. Nothing but shadows greeted her, hungry and dark, creeping along the edges of her vision. She shook her head, dismissing her fears. You need to be brave, she told herself. After all, so many had revered her for her hair, but only she felt the weight of its secrets. Tentatively, she released her grip from the strands, letting them flow freely again. The moment felt electric, the tension in the air shifted. Her hair fell back into place, but she sensed it wasn't merely hair anymore. It felt like a conduit, connecting her to something greater, something primal. A sudden gust threw a window open, and rain poured in, soaking her through. She gasped and lunged towards it, quickly shutting it again, wiping the droplets from her face. But as she turned back to the mirror, she caught a glimpse of it. Her reflection looked different. Her eyes sparkled with mystery, her hair radiated a luminous glow. But the most startling thing was the faint outline of a figure behind her. She spun around, heart racing, desperate to see who or what was there, and nothing. Just shadows. But the voice returned, clearer this time. Your destiny awaits. It was a whisper, ethereal and echoing, sending chills down her spine. Aria's mind raced. Destiny? What does that even mean? Her fears threatened to suffocate her, yet a spark of curiosity ignited within. Could her hair, this beautiful burden, be a bridge to something extraordinary? Just then, she felt it again, the pull of her hair, stronger this time. It was beckoning her, leading her somewhere beyond the veil of her ordinary life. Her heart thumped wildly as she wrestled with her uncertainty. Should she follow the call, or fight against it? Images of the dark figure danced in her mind, haunting yet strangely alluring. With a deep breath, she steadied herself. I'm ready, she whispered, as if that declaration would grant her the courage she so desperately sought. But what was waiting for her on the other side? In that moment, fierce winds rattled the house, spinning her hair around like a whirlwind. The storm raged, echoing her tumultuous thoughts. The truth loomed ahead, tantalizing and terrifying, waiting for Aria to take that final step into the unknown. But could she truly embrace what lay in that stormy night? Would she uncover the truth behind the whispers that haunted her? Aria's breath quickened, the atmosphere crackling with something alive and menacing. She felt the humidity close in around her, making her skin prickle with moisture and anxiety. With a trembling hand, she reached for her hair, which now seemed like an extension of her very soul, longing for something more. The voice echoed again, deeper, resonating within her mind as if it were a part of her own being. Follow the call, Aria. She hesitated, unsure, glancing back at the stillness of the room. Shadows clung to the walls, seeming to pulse with the rhythm of her racing heart. The reflection in the mirror danced, her luminous hair capturing the flickering light. Sparks of golden hues ignited against the dark backdrop, and all Aria could think was how surreal the moment felt. The allure of the unknown was intoxicating, daring her to take the leap, and then it happened. Her hair surged forward, catching the room's energy. It flowed like a tide, urging her to move, to escape the mundane. With every passing second, the world outside darkened, an impending storm summoning her forward. She glanced again at the window, noticing how the rain lashed against the glass like desperate fingers clawing for release. Do it, she whispered to herself, just follow. In a sudden whirlwind of bravery mixed with pure instinct, Aria stepped closer to the mirror. Each seductive pull of her hair felt like a drug, compelling her, leading her towards whatever lay on the other side. She closed her eyes. The moment she opened them again, she found herself in a different place entirely. The room had vanished, replaced by an endless expanse of a stormy sky swirling with dark clouds and roaring winds. Rain drenched her skin, but she didn't feel cold. Instead, a warm flicker ignited within her, a joy mixed with apprehension. Her hair, still dancing in the wind, began to take shape, merging into something incredible. Glowing threads formed intricate patterns, illuminated by electric blues and vibrant greens. She gasped, fingertips brushing against those glowing strands as they writhed increasingly, entwining and expanding until they became almost like vast wings. What is happening? Aria gasped, overwhelmed by the surreal beauty around her. It felt as though she had become a part of the storm itself. Embrace it, the voice resolved, still so close, wrapping around her like an embrace. But now, it felt different, more determined, more powerful. You were born for this, Aria. You must find your purpose. With that, the winds howled louder, urging her to fly. And fly she did. With a tentative leap, she felt the weightlessness of the air beneath her, pulling her upward as the storm howled around her. She soared, her hair billowing behind her like a trail of shimmering stars against the angry sky. Curiosity turned to exhilaration, and with each beat of her heart, she gained altitude, searching for answers amidst the chaos. Yet, as she climbed higher, a nagging doubt clung to her, a foreboding sensation, as if the storm concealed something sinister behind its beauty. What awaited her at the peak? Were the whispers merely guiding lights, or did they hide a darker truth? Just as the enticing pull of her hair urged her on, a chilling presence brushed against her back, a dark silhouette forming in the turbulent clouds. She turned sharply, heart pounding, light fading from her glow. The shadows twisted sinisterly, moving violently in the fury of the storm. "What do you want from me?" she shouted against the roar of nature, dread creeping into her chest. The shadow took shape, revealing unmistakable features, eyes burning like deep pits of night, smiling with a wicked intent that sent chills through her veins. "Only what you owe," it replied in a voice that echoed with malice. "Your true destiny calls, but will you answer?" As the figure approached, the world around her began to tremble. She felt herself torn between the pull of her hair, guiding her towards destiny, and the menacing figure blocking her path. Would she confront her fate, or would the shadows consume her? Desperation clawed at her throat. The storm raged, and Arya found herself at a precipice, ready to face whatever truth lay ahead. But at what cost? The darkness loomed closer, and as she gathered the last vestiges of her courage, a question hung in the air: was she truly brave enough to uncover what lay at the heart of her extraordinary gift? Arya's heart raced, every beat echoing in the chaos surrounding her. The storm roared like a wild beast, its winds curling around her, leaving a chill despite the warmth bubbling inside her. She could feel the shadow inching closer, its presence smothering her like a heavy fog. Fear gripped her throat, squeezing tight. "Answer me." The voice echoed, a sinister blend of commands and mockery. A knot twisted in her stomach as she stared into those dark, burning eyes filled with an insatiable hunger. "Why are you doing this?" Arya shouted, her voice barely breaking through the cacophony. She wanted to turn away, fly in any direction but this. But the glowing strands of her hair pulled her, thrumming with life, grounding her in that moment. "What you owe?" she echoed, trying to find her footing in disbelief. "Oh, to who? To what?" The figure's smile widened, revealing teeth like razors in the storm's light. "To me, to the darkness you hide from, Arya. You want power, don't you? You want to embrace your true self." It reached out a shadowy hand, beckoning her closer. "Join me, and you'll become who you were meant to be." For a split second, she hesitated. The whisper of power was intoxicating, promising a release from the nagging doubts that had always overshadowed her life. But fear flickered within her, a gut feeling that this path led only to ruin. "No!" she cried out, shaking her head frantically. "I want tea. I'm not afraid of you." With a swift motion, she flung her arms out, channeling the energy from her hair, a surge of light, electric and alive. It wrapped around her as she summoned the strength from deep within. The vibrant colors spun wildly, bursting forth in a dazzling display, battling the encroaching darkness, but the shadow didn't falter. Instead, it laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the storm. "You think you can fight me? Embrace me, Arya, and together we can reign over the chaos." The winds howled in a chorus of despair as the figure loomed larger, its shadow swallowing the light around her. Arya's resolve solidified. This wasn't just a battle against a shadow, it was a fight for her identity, for her fate. "I am more than what you want," she shouted, pushing the energy outward, the light growing brighter with her defiance. As if responding to her power, the storm cracked with bolts of lightning, illuminating the sky, revealing glimpses of the beauty still hidden within the chaos. It felt like a symphony, her hair now a conduit for energy, daring her to push it further. In that moment, she felt a surge of unity with the storm. She was flying not just away from the darkness, but towards something more, something worth fighting for. With each pulse of light, she could sense the shadows retreating, their edges fraying against her newfound strength, but just when it seemed she had taken the upper hand, the shadow roared, the sound slicing through the air with a fierce rage. "You cannot escape your destiny," it screamed, as the storm intensified, dark clouds thickening around her. Watch me, Arya shot back, drawing on every ounce of courage. She took a deep breath, channeling her energy into one final burst of brilliance, ready to confront the darkness head-on. At that moment, the storm swelled, threatening to engulf her completely. And with one last push, her hair exploded with vibrant light, breaking through the murkiness. She didn't just want destiny to unfold, she was ready to seize it, but a sharp pain ignited in her chest, a sudden realization. All the darkness she fought lay not only in the storm but within herself. What came next? Could she truly balance light and dark within her soul? As she squeezed her eyes shut, a rush of power surged through her. The boundaries of reality blurred as she propelled herself into the unknown, heart pounding fiercely. One truth lingered, despite the chaos. In the heart of the storm lay the answers she desperately sought. But would they come at a price she wasn't willing to pay? Arya's world spun as the light exploded around her. The shriek of the shadow merged with the wind, creating a cacophony that crashed against her senses. Tumultuous clouds roiled angrily, and the ground beneath her trembled like a creature awakening. What am I doing? Was the thought flashing through her mind as she propelled herself forward, electricity crackling in her fingertips. But fear was fading, replaced with an adrenaline-fueled clarity. She was done running. A blinding flash filled her vision, illuminating the storm as if it were daylight. She felt the energy of the tempest singing through her, every fiber of her being alive and yearning for battle. You think mere light can conquer me? The shadow snarled, swiping the air with its shadowy hand. The ground around Arya buckled, sending shards of earth flying. She ducked just in time, pain slicing through her back as one hit her. Gritting her teeth, she rose, refusing to let doubt take root. Your darkness feeds on fear. She yelled back, pulling from that growing well of courage within her. I'll face it in you. Again, she released a burst of color, vibrancy blooming around her, refusing to be swallowed whole. The moment charged, suspended between the clashing forces of light and shadow. She could see the dark edges fraying, but it wasn't enough. Show me, Arya demanded, a fierce determination propelling her forward. Show me this destiny you think I must fear. With each word, she stepped into the tempest, drawing the storm into her, harnessing it until the incredible power surged, igniting her hair into brilliant, swirling whirlwinds of colors never seen before. The shadow recoiled, its sneer wavering, and she felt the tides turning, but distance shifted in the storm. The ground cracked apart, and she stumbled. The figures swirling in the darkness reformed, flickering images of her past moments of doubt, failures tackling her through the haze. Parents' disappointment, friends' betrayal, her own failures laid thick like a fog she couldn't shake. No! She screamed, the storm matching her fury, a whirling tornado erupting around her. The visions flared, erupting like fireflies, each one a piece of her she had to confront. These don't define me. Pathetic. The shadow hissed, dark fingers reaching out, curling toward her. You're nothing without me. Embrace the darkness within and take your place. Arya felt the intensity rising, her heart racing as she countered, no. I will embrace all of me. Strength surged back, an unstoppable wave of light washed over her. She was the storm, at once the fierce winds and the steady rain. As light engulfed her, she reached deep inside, pulling forth not just power but clarity. Suddenly, a truth struck her with the force of lightning. The darkness wasn't merely to be fought, it was a part of her, a puzzle piece of her spirit, and denying it meant living only half a life. If she were to find balance, she had to understand it. With newfound resolve, she stood tall, channeling everything into a radiant force, focusing on peace rather than conflict. And then, everything shattered. The blast of energy expanded outward, exploding in waves, forcing the shadow back. The chaos danced around her, but now there was a rhythm, a heartbeat in tune with her own. But as the darkness receded, a lingering doubt clung to her heart like a storm cloud. Could she find the strength to truly accept what she had fought against? Was she ready to face the traumas that had shaped her? It swirled through her mind like the winds, as the edges of darkness retreated, drawing back into the depths of the storm. But then, she saw at the flicker of an even darker shadow, one that hadn't fled but was waiting, biding its time. A haunting question settled in her chest. If this battle was merely the beginning, what greater darkness lay ahead, waiting to strike when she least expected it. The air crackled with tension as Arya hung in the eye of the storm, heart pounding against her ribs like a war drum. The retreat of the shadow felt like a temporary reprieve, not a victory. She tightened her fists, grounding herself. Her energy pulsed, merging with the remnants of the tempest swirling around her, but the unease was still there. It gnawed at her, threatening her newfound strength. "Face it, you can never truly escape," the shadow's whisper echoed, chilling her to the bone. Every word dripped with malice, teasing the edges of her resolve. "Remember your past. It will always be there waiting." Ignoring the taunt, she concentrated on the now, feeling the vibrant energy swell. She could feel it resonating not just from her fingertips but deep within her core. But what happened next pulled her breath short. Beneath her, the earth shifted violently, splitting apart in a mesmerizing display that swallowed chaos whole. A deep chasm widened, a void that beckoned to her and seemed to pulse with its own dark heartbeat. It was as if the storm itself had birthed a scar in the land. She took a step back, her instincts screaming. There was something almost sentient about that darkness. It whispered promises of power and acceptance while reminding her of every failed attempt, every painful moment. She could feel the battle warring within her, shadow and light struggling for dominion, and she was caught in the crossfire, but did she really want to push this back again? Arya felt a flicker of curiosity. Was there a lesson hidden in that darkness? Something she hadn't fully comprehended? As turbulent thoughts churned, the ground trembled, and she felt the weight of the abyss pulling. "Don't succumb to it." A voice called from somewhere, a memory or a warning. She glanced around, searching for the source, and found nothing but swirling colors and shadows, not even an echo of support. Yet, the distinct familiarity in the voice stirred something deep inside her. She had fought to shine, to rise above the pain and rejection. But what if the answer wasn't in fighting her darkness but understanding it? Would the chasm swallow her whole if she dared to stand at its precipice? As she hesitated, the darkness manifested, creeping toward her like fingers reaching out through the darkened chasm. Arya felt her heart race. She could almost hear it calling her name, wrapping around her thoughts in a seductive whisper, promising liberation from light, from expectations if only she would let go. The urge to dive into the void clawed at her, but she stepped back, shaking her head vigorously. "No. I refuse to be consumed." But the shadow was unrelenting. Dark tendrils snaked from the chasm, curling and grasping for her like serpents. Panic surged through her, and for a moment, she wavered. What if it would really give her strength? She struggled against the tide of doubt, then, an unexpected memory sparked. Flashing before her eyes were the faces of those she loved, every smile, every moment shared. Their laughter rang like bells in her mind, dispelling the darkness that threatened to consume her. "Arya!" they cried, a chorus against the dark soundtrack of her thoughts. With a cry born of pure determination, she thrust her arms forward. Light erupted from her, illuminating the encroaching shadows and fracturing the stillness. The tendrils recoiled as brightness met darkness in a fierce clash that sent shockwaves through the storm, but just as she thought she'd gained the upper hand, the ground lurched violently again, and the dark chasm darkened threateningly. From its depths, a grotesque shape began to rise. "Is that an eye?" Fear clawed up her throat, choking her resolve as the true nature of the darkness became clearer. A monstrous figure began to form, and with it, a new wave of terror rolled over her. What had she awakened? Could she face this new terror, or would this battle be one she couldn't win? The shadow's laughter echoed low and endless, promising more than she dared to imagine. With uncertainty swelling in her chest, the looming figure emerged fully. And it whispered her name. What more could this darkness reveal? Arya's heart raced, each beat echoing in her ears like a clock counting down to an impending doom. The grotesque eye loomed larger, its iris swirling with darkness that beckoned and terrified her simultaneously. It felt as if the very essence of despair pulsed from it, drawing breath into her lungs that was thick with apprehension. She wanted to scream, but the sound caught in her throat, trapped by fear. "Arya, you cannot escape," the voice twisted around her, seeping into her thoughts as if the very darkness projected her fears. "You know me, I have always been a part of you." She took a frantic step back, her mind racing. The tendrils had retreated for now, but they lingered, coiling in the shadows around the chasm as though waiting for an invitation to return. Arya shook her head, fighting against the wave of memories that crashed over her like relentless tides, the failures, the moments of shame, the pain etched into her very skin. "It's all a lie," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You aren't real. You're just a part of my past. I've faced you before." Suddenly, a blinding light surged from within her, a protective shield emanating bright enough to pierce the endless night. The monstrous figure recoiled at the intensity, but the eye remained unblinking, unwavering. "I see you," it spat in a voice that sent chills skidding down her spine. "Your light will flicker. And when it does, I will be waiting." Just then, the chasm trembled again, and Arya's vision blurred with shadows and swirling colors that danced in a fevered chaos. She had to remain focused. She inhaled deeply, grounding herself in the warmth of the memories she summoned earlier, the laughter, the love, and the unwavering support of those she cherished. "Stay strong," she murmured to herself, channeling her emotions into the energy building within her. Could she harness the light to bridge this divide between the two forces within her? As she concentrated, the light glowed hotter, pushing against the shadows with an almost tangible force. The monsters began to retreat, writhing in agony as her brightness strained against their grip. Every whisper of doubt that gripped her was met with a rush of her determination. It was now or never. She had to take back what was hers. With a fierce shout, she directed the pulse of light toward the eye, every ounce of hope mixing with fury. "You will never control me." The brilliance erupted forth like a raging fire, thrusting back the dark tendrils and piercing through the figure's ominous facade. The eye widened, shock morphing its malice into fury. But the ground quaked again, and this time, Arya felt the chasm, its voice, its promise wrapped tighter around her, forcing her to the edge. She stumbled but didn't fall. She teetered there, on the brink of losing herself. A glimmer of perspective then flashed. It wasn't just a battle of light against dark, fear against courage. This was a moment for transformation. She didn't want to erase her past but learn from it. Understanding didn't have to mean capitulation. "Come on," she challenged, "I will not let you define who I am." As her resolve set like steel, the figure shrieked, a cacophony of rage vibrating the air. The darkness writhed, but Arya pushed forth. The blinding light blazed and expanded, momentarily dazzling her senses as the shadow retreated further, furious yet faltering. But then, just as victory felt tangible, the chasm surged, and out of the inky depths emerged something new, an arm, reaching for her, glistening with dark light. It wasn't the creature she feared, yet in her gut, she felt a chilling connection. What was this thing? A remnant of her past? Or something worse, a new threat rising from the cracks she had unwittingly opened? Arya's heart hammered in her chest as determination blended with dread. What else did this darkness have in store for her? She took a step forward, the weight of the unknown heavy on her shoulders. This was only the beginning. Could she truly uncover the truth buried beneath layers of fear? The arm emerged slowly, almost reverently, reaching out like a whisper carried by the wind. Dark light cascaded down its length, shimmering like oil on water, a soft contrast against the dimness surrounding Arya. She felt drawn to it, yet there was an undeniable force pulling her back, a primal instinct warning her of its dangerous allure. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice steady but laced with uncertainty. The arm quivered, as if considering its answer. It then extended further, fingers unfurling gracefully. Each moment stretched out for an eternity, the silence thick between them. Arya's breath came fast, each inhalation laden with fear and resolve. "You know me, Arya," it finally spoke, the words wrapping around her like a cold embrace. "I am the parts of you that you refuse to acknowledge." "No," she retorted, the defiance surging through her like a storm. "You're just another trick, another way for the darkness to consume me. I've moved on." The arm recoiled, pulling back slightly like a wounded animal. For the first time, Arya caught a glimpse of something human in the shadows, an essence she couldn't quite place but felt deeply within. It stirred her memories of who she used to be before fear dictated every choice. "Embrace me," the arm whispered, its voice dark yet somehow inviting. "Let me show you." I carry the truths you bury beneath your skin, the fears and failures, yes, but also the strength you've gained through the shadows. She hesitated, uncertainty dancing along her resolve. Could she bear to confront the fragments of her past? The failures that haunted her like relentless ghosts? Would it truly set her free or be yet another chain weighing her down? With a sharp intake of breath, she stepped closer, curiosity flickering like a flame. What can you show me? As if sensing her willingness, the arm pulsed with energy, and suddenly a vivid image flashed before her, a memory long forgotten. She was a child, playing in golden sunlight, laughter ringing like music. The joy felt true, familiar, yet it was mingled with an ache of loss. Innocence, before the darkness, the arm murmured, its essence wrapping around her like a hug. This is your foundation. You cannot build without acknowledging its presence. Just then, the chasm trembled again, and the atmosphere shifted. The ground beneath Aria's feet felt unsteady, her heart pounding as the shadows roared back, furious at her moment of vulnerability. The monstrous eye's presence loomed larger, its malice reawakened. Foolish girl. It bellowed. You think you can reclaim what is lost? I will always be here. Aria's palms tingled, the energy from the arm vibrating through her, sparking her determination. Not if I don't let you, she declared fiercely. She could sense the strength within her growing, battling against the suffocating grip of darkness. You are not my truth. The arm coiled around her wrist like warming silk, a reminder of resilience. You carry both the light and the dark, it whispered. Accepting me means accepting you. Just remember, the shadows may hide the truth, but they also guide you to the light. With a fierce shout, she directed the intense blaze of her spirit at the monstrous eye. You will not own my past any longer. Suddenly, the chasm roared, its boundaries shifting angrily as the shadows writhed in agitation. Arya felt the blend of light and dark swirl around her, a magnificent tempest of potential and fear, shaping her fate, but just as she thought she had the upper hand, an earth-shattering crack sliced through the air. The ground beneath her surged violently. The arm slipped, faltering, and Arya could feel herself being pulled toward the abyss, her breath quickened. No. Stay with me. The darkness closed in, blending with her fears, and swirl of memories threatened to consume her. If she was going to uncover the truth of who she was, she had to fight not only for her past but for the very essence of her being. As the chasm threatened to swallow her whole, Arya locked her gaze on the arm, filled with desperation and defiance. This was a moment she could either succumb to or transform. What lay beyond the edge? Would she embrace the darkness or withstand its pull? Arya's next move could determine everything, but could she truly confront that which she had long feared? The ground shook violently, throwing Arya off balance. Panic clawed at her chest as she felt the darkness surge closer, a creeping tide determined to swallow her whole. Her thoughts raced, a whirlwind of doubt and fear. Fight it, Arya. The words echoed in her mind, a reminder from the arm that wrapped around her wrist. You have the strength. She focused on that strength, the warmth flooding her veins. You're right. She shouted, her voice steady despite the chaos. I will not let you pull me in. With her free hand, she reached out towards the monstrous eye, its glare a soulless void above her. You don't control me. You're just a reflection of my fears. The eye narrowed, its fury erupting like a volcano. You think defiance will save you? It only fuels the darkness. As if in agreement, the shadows surged forward, clawing at her life, wrapping around her ankles like chains. Arya felt her body weight against the invisible force, a relentless pressure threatening to crush her soul. In that moment, the arm tightened its grip, anchoring her amidst the storm. Remember your light. It urged. Feel it. Acknowledge it. With newfound resolve, Arya squeezed her eyes shut and pictured that childhood memory, the warmth of sunlight and untainted joy. She could almost hear the laughter, feel the lightness of her heart. Okay, she breathed, feeling the power swell inside. I choose to embrace all of it, the joy, the pain, the fear. The shadows recoiled momentarily, as if displeased. The colossal eye flared with anger, pulsating violently. "Fool!" it shrieked, louder than before. "You will regret this." But Arya didn't back down. Gathering every shred of courage, she pulled the essence of that warmth deep within her soul. Bright light erupted from her core, radiating like a star born anew. That light spilled out into the darkness surrounding her, illuminating the abyss. The shadows hissed, recoiling from the purity of her light. "No!" they howled, retreating with an almost desperate intensity. "Face it!" Arya shouted back, feeling the power grow stronger. "You're a part of me, but you do not define me." The chasm shifted violently again, the walls trembling as though the darkness could feel its defeat. For a fleeting moment, Arya could see fragmented images, the events that had haunted her, the struggles that once consumed her, but they now appeared small and distant. Suddenly, the monstrous eye thickened, darkening to an inky black, pulsating as if it had a heartbeat. "You will never understand," it roared, its voice trembling. "Oh, but I do," Arya insisted, daring to step forward through the swirling chaos. The light grew, pushing back the shadows relentlessly. "I understand that you're just fear. But fear can't break me." She propelled herself forward, reaching out with both hands. The arm beckoned her, firm and certain. A swirl of dark energy circled around her, trying to crush her spirit, but Arya stood tall, the light blazing like a beacon against the encroaching shadows. The darkness shrieked in agony, unraveling as her light pierced the depths of the chasm. But just as victory loomed within reach, the ground beneath her fractured wildly, splintering like glass. Arya stumbled, fighting to keep her footing, her heart racing. "No. Stay strong." The monstrous eye, now more furious than ever, surged forward. "Your light can't sustain you forever. You'll never escape your past." As the earth fractured further, Arya's heart sank. The chasm opened wider, a gaping maw waiting to swallow her. Could she truly conquer the darkness? With a final surge, Arya took one last breath, her expression fierce and defiant. "I will find a way." But in the moment that followed, light flickered, shadows danced chaotically, and everything began to unravel. What awaited her on the other side of that raging chasm? Would she finally unleash the truth she had long buried, or would she forever drown in her fears? Arya felt the ground quake beneath her like a heartbeat sinking with the chaos of the storm around her. Her breath came fast, each intake laced with the electric tension of anticipation. The monstrous eye loomed larger, its presence an oppressive weight that threatened to pull her into the depths of despair. Here, at the edge of the chasm, the profound question of her existence hung heavily in the air. Was she meant to be consumed by her darkness or rise above it? Summoning every ounce of bravery she had left, Arya focused on the warmth of light that flickered deep within her. Memories of laughter and joy danced in her mind, mingling with the fight she had fought so fiercely. She would not let fear define her destiny. "I refuse to be afraid," she shouted into the gale, her voice echoing against the bleakness, slashing through the storm's ferocity. With fierce determination, she stretched out her arms, merging the light with the darkness swirling around her. Arya felt her hair, her powerful ally, swirling like a golden halo. "You don't own me," she declared, and in that moment, she stepped into the chasm, a leap of audacity and faith in herself. Time paused as she descended into chaos, colors spinning in a dizzy array. But instead of fear, something new began to blossom within her. As if the storm recognized her defiance, the tendrils of darkness hesitated, swirling slower. Yes, there was power in vulnerability. She remembered the voice of the arm, reflecting her past, her complicated nature. "Embrace all of it," it whispered, not as a command but as an urging. Courage swelled in her chest, igniting in a blaze as she connected with the lost fragments of herself. "I am the light and the dark," she proclaimed, letting the truth resonate through her as she fell deeper. "And I'll redefine what that means." Suddenly, illumination exploded around her, sending the shadows recoiling back like mist fleeing the dawn. The monstrous eye blinked, its fury melding with confusion. Arya's spirit propelled the radiant energy outward, forming arcs of brilliance that intertwined with the darkness. Embracing it instead of fighting it, she landed not at the bottom of the chasm but in a field of stars, an infinite realm woven from her memories and fears. intricately mixed with her hopes and dreams. She was no longer just Arya, the girl burdened by her gift. She was Arya, the storm, the chaos, the light, and the dark, all intertwined. Bright strands of her hair illuminated the way, intertwining with the cosmos around her. You see now? The arm echoed through the starry expanse, joining her in this moment of clarity. You will always face shadows, but light is your truth. Embrace it. The shadows surged but struggled against her brilliance as she forged a path through them, reclaiming what was rightfully hers. You cannot control me. She shouted, confidence radiating from her. I own my story. You will not define my light. With each pulse of power, darkness faded further until finally, the monstrous eye shrieked a sound of defeat that shattered the stillness. The shadows evaporated, cascading like water under the sun's shine, and Arya felt a weight lift from her shoulders, a burden she had carried for far too long. In that moment of collective triumph, Arya soared upward, her essence threaded through the stars as she broke the barrier between fear and understanding. The storm began to dissipate, remnants of clouds turning into soft whispers of wind that caressed her. Back in her room, the tempest had quieted, sunlight spilled through the window splashing golden rays against her skin. Arya stood alone in front of the mirror again, but this time, it was different. Her hair flowed not just as an extension now, it represented liberation, acceptance, and the harmony between her depths and heights. Smiling at her reflection, Arya whispered, "You are enough. Just as you are." With newfound clarity, Arya stepped forward, a fresh resolve blooming in her chest. She would share her journey, her triumph over shadows and the celebration of light, because every voice needed to be heard. As she walked away from the mirror, she felt lighter than the feathers against her skin, the whispers of dark once looming now merely echoes of her past. The world outside awaited her. But first the journey needed telling. So as she reached for her phone, the air crackled with anticipation. Maybe it's time to turn my story into a beautiful melody, she mused, determined to connect with those who needed to hear her tale. And as the digital world awaited her words, let this be the truth for everyone watching: embrace your light, confront your shadows, and above all, stay true to yourself. Don't leave Arya's journey behind. You need to subscribe now to catch her next adventures, every single of her exclusive stories waiting to unfold. Smash the like button now, let us feed the algorithm and share this unforgettable experience. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about what lies ahead for Arya. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to be inspired by her powerful journey.